The Late Night News, brought to you by Hyundai's Super Sonata Runout on now. And Telstra Mobile Net Digital, further and further and front.
Heading the Late Night News, the federal government facing backbench revolt on two fronts. The Aussie astronaut's dream ride. And the Blues make it 1-0 in the Origin series.
Has got the perfect bounce.
The Late Night News with SANDRA SULLY.
Good evening. We begin tonight as the federal government moves to head off backbench rebellions on its proposals for tougher gun controls and over the Native Title Act. Urgent meetings are underway in Canberra tonight in a bid to solve both issues.
The National is a leader under pressure over the backlash in the bush.
Absolutely not.
In a bid to squash a backbench rebellion over the government's tougher gun controls, the National Party leader is holding a crisis meeting tonight. Earlier, Mr Fisher ruled out any backsliding.
There's no change contemplated for the agreed Commonwealth position on tough gun controls.
And Mr Fisher says the bans
are all about precluding bedroom arsenals from Gympie to Geelong and beyond.
And today, in the Queensland town of Yeppoon, shooters held another meeting.
Just debate and get rid of the legislation. That's all I want, to get rid of the bloody legislation.
Prime Minister Howard told the Parliament the gun lobby is wasting its time.
There won't be any change in the government's approach on this issue. Our position is firm and irrevocable.
And the federal government tried to head off a backbench revolt on another front. Urgent meetings with disgruntled MPs over the government's soft line on native title are also underway tonight. The government confirmed it will wait for the High Court to decide if native title can exist on pastoral leases.
One of the alternatives is to wait until the High Court resolves the matter.
And that has outraged Rebel MPs.
I myself am concerned if we don't keep our promise to make native title workable, and that means legislation from the Parliament, not the High Court.
The government also claims it's one step closer to a double dissolution and an early election after the opposition and minor parties in the Senate threatened to delay debate on the Telstra sale bill until August. Stephanie Kennedy, 10 News.
The recovery process following the Port Arthur tragedy entered a new phase today. For the first time, tourists started to return to the scene of one of the world's worst peacetime gun massacres.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd just like to say welcome to Port Arthur.
And with those words today, Port Arthur moved to get on with life and put the April 28th massacre into its place in history. After a 3-week shutdown, the tourists are again taking in the brutal history of the historic site, with just a brief reference to its more recent violent history.
Just take a note at our beautiful memorial cross, and please come back, have a look, and maybe just stand there for silence just for a few seconds.
But day one was not easy for anyone, especially gatehouse worker Aileen Kingston, who was there on that fateful day 3 weeks ago and saw some of the victims gunned down.
The last 3 weeks have been like a bad dream, and work's probably the best way to get back to normality.
When you look out and you see the floral tributes there, does that bring it back to you?
A little. I sort of relate the flowers perhaps to people being there, but I'm trying hard not to think about it.
Also not easy today for the tourists. The economy of this part of Tasmania is very dependent on the tourist dollar. Tourism brings in about $9 million a year, and it's thought with the current massive downturn in visitor numbers, many operators will face financial ruin.
A 9-year-old girl abducted from her home east of Melbourne says her fierce screaming and kicking helped her foil her attacker. A 49-year-old man has appeared in court charged with her abduction.
The youngster was today recovering from her ordeal, allegedly abducted from her bed by a masked man who dragged her down the street early yesterday morning. Her screams alerted a neighbour who scared away the attacker.
Well, I screamed and I thought I think that woke Mrs. Oliver up, and she came running out because I woke the dog up with my screaming, and the dog woke up Mrs. Oliver.
She also kicked, bit and yelled at her attacker, a ploy she hopes others will remember.
All that you got to do is learn to scream as loud as you can.
A very, very brave little girl. Very, very brave, that's all you can say about her. Handled extremely well under the circumstances.
49-year-old Bernard Sims was later charged with 11 offences, including abduction, burglary and child stealing. Police captured him riding a bicycle in the area. The court heard Sims had become obsessed with the girl after first seeing her in the local shopping district about 6 weeks ago. Police allege Sims entered the girl's house through a laundry window as her family slept and stole a school uniform which he dumped in a rubbish bin 200 metres away. Sims did not apply for bail and was remanded in custody today to reappear in July. Kim Carter, 10 News.
A businessman under investigation for his alleged role in a major pedophile ring has admitted his employee set fire to evidence yesterday just before his home was raided. The man, codenamed W17 before the New South Wales Police Royal Commission, also admitted to paying police protection money.
The businessman, codenamed W17, is a self-confessed pedophile. The inquiry is investigating his links with pedophile Johnny McLean and with